Hello there, and thank you for joining me today. I want to start by asking you something that might feel a little familiar. Have you ever noticed how life seems to slow down just a bit as we get older? Maybe it's not so much about the pace of life itself, but more about how we connect with others. When we're younger, friendships often happen naturally. We meet people at work, through our kids' activities, or even in the grocery store line. But as we age, those chances seem to fade, don't they? And sometimes it can feel like we're left wondering where everyone went. But here's the thing. Friendship doesn't have an expiration date. In fact, it becomes even more powerful as we grow older. Today we're going to talk about something truly special, the power of senior friendship. This isn't just about having someone to chat with over coffee. It's about creating connections that inspire us, support us, and even help us live longer, healthier lives. By the end of this video, I hope you'll feel inspired to nurture your own friendships, or maybe even take steps to build new ones. Now, before we dive in, let me share a quick story. A few years ago, I met a woman named Margaret at a community center. Margaret was in her late 70s and had recently lost her husband. She told me she felt like her world had shrunk overnight. Her kids lived far away and most of her friends had either moved or passed on. But then one day, she decided to join a book club. At first, she said she felt out of place, like she didn't belong. But over time, something amazing happened. Those weekly meetings turned into deep conversations, shared laughter, and even a few tears. Margaret told me that those friendships gave her a reason to get up in the morning, a sense of purpose she hadn't felt in years. Margaret's story is just one example of how powerful friendship can be, especially later in life. So, let's talk about why these connections matter so much. The truth is, as we age, our social circles often shrink. Kids grow up and move away, careers wind down, and sometimes health challenges make it harder to stay connected. But research shows that maintaining strong friendships can actually improve our physical and mental well-being. It lowers stress, boosts our immune system, and even helps us live longer. Isn't that incredible? One of the first things I want to emphasize is the importance of reaching out, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you called an old friend just to say hello? Or reached out to someone you haven't seen in years? If you're anything like me, it's easy to think, oh, they're probably busy, or I don't want to bother them. But here's the truth. Most people love hearing from an old friend. You might be surprised at how much joy a simple phone call or message can bring, not just to you, but to them too. Let me give you another example. A man named John, who's in his early 80s, told me about reconnecting with a childhood friend he hadn't spoken to in decades. They started exchanging letters, yes, actual handwritten letters, and soon they were sharing stories, memories, and even advice about their current lives. John said it was like rediscovering a part of himself he thought he'd lost. He realized that some friendships are like fine wine. They only get better with time. Now, you might be thinking, that sounds nice, but what if I don't have anyone to reach out to? Well, that brings me to my next point. It's never too late to make new friends. Think about it. Every friendship starts with a single conversation. Maybe it's striking up a chat with someone at the park, joining a class, or volunteering for a cause you care about. These are all opportunities to meet people who share your interests and values. And trust me, no one expects you to become best friends overnight. It's about taking small steps and being open to the possibilities. For instance, I know a woman named Carol who decided to take a painting class at her local community center. At first, she was nervous. She hadn't picked up a paintbrush since elementary school, but as she got to know the other students, she found herself looking forward to those classes every week. Over time, she formed close bonds with a few of them, and now they meet regularly for coffee and art projects. Carol says it's been one of the most rewarding experiences of her life. So whether you're reconnecting with old friends or stepping out to meet new ones, the key is to take that first step. It might feel a little scary at first, but remember, you're not alone. There are so many people out there who are looking for connection, just like you. Now that we've covered the importance of reaching out and making new connections, let's move on to how we can deepen those relationships once we've started building them. Because friendship isn't just about meeting people, it's about creating meaningful, lasting bonds that enrich our lives. Now that we've talked about reaching out and making new connections, let's focus on how to deepen those friendships once they start to form. Because let's be honest, friendship isn't just about meeting people. It's about creating meaningful bonds that stand the test of time. And this is especially important as we age because these relationships can become a source of strength, joy, and even resilience during life's ups and downs. One of the best ways to deepen a friendship is by being genuinely interested in the other person. This might sound simple, but it's so powerful. Think about it. When someone takes the time to really listen to you, to ask thoughtful questions, and to remember the little details about your life, doesn't that make you feel valued? It works both ways. When you show genuine curiosity about someone else, their stories, their passions, their challenges, you're building a foundation of trust and connection. For example, if your friend mentions they love gardening, follow up next time by asking how their plants are doing or sharing an article about a new type of flower they might like. These small gestures show that you care, and they go a long way in strengthening the bond. Another key element of deepening friendships is vulnerability. Now, I know the word vulnerability can sometimes feel intimidating, but hear me out. It's not about oversharing or burdening someone with all your worries. It's about being open enough to let them see the real you, the joys, the struggles, and everything in between. A woman named Ruth once told me how transformative this was for her. She had always kept her struggles private, especially after losing her husband. But one day, she decided to open up to a new friend at her knitting group about how lonely she felt. To her surprise, her friend shared that she'd been feeling the same way. That moment of honesty brought them closer than ever, and they became each other's support system through some tough times. Of course, vulnerability works best when it's mutual. So, as you open up, encourage your friends to do the same. Ask them how they're really doing. Not just the polite, "I'm fine" answer, but the deeper truth behind it. You might be surprised at how much people appreciate having someone who truly listens without judgment. And don't worry if it feels awkward at first. Building trust takes time, and the more you practice being open, the easier it becomes. Now, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked: shared experiences. Friendships thrive when we do things together, whether it's taking a walk, working on a project, or simply enjoying a meal. Shared activities create memories, and those memories become the glue that holds friendships together. Take Harold and Jim, two men in their late 70s who rekindled their childhood friendship after decades apart. They started meeting every Saturday morning to play chess at a local cafe. Over time, those chess games turned into long conversations about their lives, their families, and their dreams. Harold said those Saturdays gave him something to look forward to every week, and he credits Jim with helping him stay positive during a difficult period in his life. The beauty of shared experiences is that they don't have to be elaborate or expensive. Sometimes, the simplest moments leave the biggest impact. Maybe it's baking cookies together, going for a stroll around the neighborhood, or even watching a favorite movie side by side. The key is to find activities that both of you enjoy and that give you a chance to connect on a deeper level. And if you're not sure what to do, don't hesitate to ask your friend for ideas. Chances are they'll appreciate the invitation just as much as you do. Now, let's shift gears a bit and talk about how to keep friendships strong over the long haul. Because let's face it, Life doesn't always make it easy to stay connected. Health issues, family obligations, and plain old busyness can sometimes get in the way. But here's the good news. Maintaining a friendship doesn't require grand gestures or constant contact. It's the little things that matter most. A quick text to say you're thinking of someone, a handwritten note sent in the mail, or even a phone call on their birthday. All of these small acts of kindness remind your friend that they're important to you. I want to share a story about my neighbor Evelyn, who has mastered the art of staying connected. Every month, she sends a short letter to 5 of her closest friends. In the letter, she shares updates about her life, asks about theirs, and includes a funny anecdote or two. Her friends love receiving these letters, and they always write back. Evelyn says it's become a cherished tradition that keeps her friendships alive, even though they live miles apart. It's proof that you don't need to see someone every day to maintain a strong connection. You just need to stay present in their lives in meaningful ways. But what happens when misunderstandings or disagreements arise? After all, no friendship is perfect, and conflicts are bound to happen from time to time. The key here is communication. Instead of letting resentment build up, address the issue calmly and honestly. Remember, a true friend will understand if you express your feelings respectfully, and they'll likely appreciate your willingness to work things out. A man named George shared how he repaired a decades-long friendship after a misunderstanding over finances. It wasn't easy, but by sitting down and talking openly, they were able to clear the air and move forward stronger than ever. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. Friendship is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves and others at any stage of life. It enriches our days, supports us through challenges, and reminds us that we're never alone. Whether you're reconnecting with old friends, nurturing existing relationships, or stepping out to meet new people, know that every effort you make is worth it. You deserve to have friendships that inspire you, uplift you, and bring meaning to your life. Before we end, I'd love to hear from you. Have you recently reconnected with an old friend or formed a new bond that's made a difference in your life? Share your story in the comments below. I'm sure others would love to hear it too. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. We're here to provide tips, inspiration, and encouragement for living your best life at any age. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Remember, it's never too late to build friendships that matter. So take that first step, whether it's picking up the phone, joining a class, or simply smiling at someone new. Here's to living a life filled with connection, laughter, and love. Until next time, take care.